And we are live. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Less than 12 hours since I came and I told you in my last podcast that something bad is cooking in Syria and that there is intelligence reports saying that the Syrian jihadists are flocking to the border with Israel with the inspiration of Hamas, Palestine, and other jihadist movements from Lebanon and the whole region in hope to bring another October 7 on Israel from the north. Less than 12 hours since I came and I said that warning my podcast. And we have the IDF troops in Syria ambushed today or last night actually by these jihadist militants. 6 IDF reservists injured, one an officer, several other soldiers. I think 2 are in critical conditions, and about 20 something jihadists and Syrian residents killed in this exchange fire. So they basically ambushed the IDF, and I'm going to show you some videos here. And after the ambush, they shot an RPG, they hit a Jeep, a Humvee, and they started shooting at them. The IDF responded by shooting back and charging at the building where that happened. You can see in the video, it's very clear actually, where they're saying go up, take the lights off, and etc. They operated very well, and they managed to eliminate the threat, rescue their woundeds, and in the end, an Israeli rescue helicopter had to go and shoot the Humvee that was struck and stuck inside of the Syrian village in order for it not to fall to the wrong hands. And they went and destroyed it. All of this happened in a village called Bet Jan. Let me show you here in a picture. So this is the area where you see encircled. I didn't really have time to translate this text for you for English, but I'm going to read it for you. The alarm for the Ministry of Defense just became truth. He gave an alarm yesterday about Bet Jan, Syria, and just later on, the attack happened. The one encircled, that's Bet Jan. It's about 11 kilometers into the Syria territory from Israel. An operation of the IDF from Regiment 55 entered a village to arrest 2, I actually heard 3, terrorists that were known to put IEDs and even shoot anti-tank missiles at the Israeli forces in the past. So Israel, with intelligence, found where they are and they went to arrest them. And as they were going inside, they basically woke them up from their beds and started taking them out. And an ambush was laid for them. And they opened fire at them. 6 IDF people got injured. 3 got injured badly. And I heard 16 already killed, so the operation here, the information here is not as accurate, and more got injured from the Syrian side, and the Humvee got destroyed. I'm waiting for Khalifa. He is in the desert, so he's going to join us in this episode to talk about it. But guys, something very, very bad is cooking at the border with Syria to Israel, and it's just going to get worse. I'm going to try to give you all the updates. I'm going to show you the next videos here. I took the liberty to add some translations to it. I was working relentlessly this whole half an hour, basically last 1 hour, just adding translations and verifying information, checking with my sources in Syria and Israel. Let's watch from the body camera of the IDF soldiers how this fighting looked like. I'm gonna have to put it again. They're saying be careful from crossfire. He's taking his head out, just out of the window, warning his friends, about what's happening. Take out the house with the light on the left. Order the forces to take off the lights as well. So, as you can see here, that's in the village over there. The IDF went to arrest. That was an arrested guy there on the ground. And then things got complicated. This is apparently the first time that the IDF engaged in such intense face-to-face combat with Syrian terrorist organizations and possibly even government organizations on the ground in Syria since, how many years back, it's very hard to explain. That's an image here of the Jeep that was burning after the IDF had to evacuate from Syria, and they shot a missile straight at the Jeep, as you can see here, eliminating the threats, the Jeeps, and giving air support to the forces as they are trying to rescue their friends, and fight. So an ambush in Syria by the Syrian Islamist, jihadist, terrorist groups, surprising the IDF. A fight happened, 6 IDF soldiers injured, and about 16 of these terrorists eliminated, and many other wounded inside of Syria. The Syrian regime is immediately calling this a great violation of human rights and demanding that, the international community to get involved and stop the Israeli occupations, and the same old music that we've heard before. This is the briefing that happened right after the attack in Syria. Guys, these are IDF commanders, officers in Syria outside of that village doing a briefing right now about what should happen next. Things are happening. Very serious things are happening. I said it, I'm going to say it again. The border with Syria is not a joke. We will have another October 7 happening from Syria if we don't wake up and take action. Now, here is some young Jewish, I don't want to say teenagers, but young Jewish men from different religious groups around Israel called the Bashan Pioneers, who have entered illegally into Syria and are trying to build the Jewish settlements inside of Syria. And here the reasoning that they have, it's very, very interesting. Why are they doing so? So let's hear it.
ראינו היום שג'ולני הכריז שהוא בא בשביל לכבוש את הגולן. הוא טרוריסט על מלא, הוא מארגון אל-קאידה. אנחנו יודעים מיוש שרק התיישבות מביאה ביטחון. יהודים יקרים, בואו ועזרו לנו לשמור על ארצנו, למנוע את ה7 באוקטובר פה ברמת הגולן. תחפשו אותנו, חלוצי הבשן, בוואטסאפ, בטוויטר, בפייסבוק. תודה רבה. היידה חבר'ה. קדימה חבר'ה.
Later on, these young men got apprehended by the IDF and taken out of Syria. But let's unpack this for a second. If I would have seen this video 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or during my time in the service in the IDF, when I was actually in Gaza, right before the disengagement and after or during the disengagement, I would have told you they're a bunch of wackos, cuckoo heads, or, kind of delusional teenagers just looking for trouble. But seeing what happened after October 7, the only thing I can say is that they were right and I was wrong. If Israel would have not disengaged from Gaza and gave Gaza to the Gazans, then October 7 would have not happened. Not only that, we gave Gaza to the Gazans in hope for peace. We did not even go a single centimeter closer to the hope of peace. We only helped them radicalize Gaza into a worse situation. And look what happened right now. They brought complete, utter destruction on themselves, on Gaza, and on the Jewish people and the Israelis that were around the area of Gaza. That's what happened when you let these Islamist, pro-Palestinian, Muslim Brotherhood groups take over an area. So these religious people back then, they call them the settlers, they call them the Na'arei Gvaot, the hill youth. What they're saying is the only way to ensure that you have a proper stability and security in an area is by letting people live in that area, making that area a fertile area where there is people living in it, and then the army is protecting them, and then life is flourishing. And otherwise, if you create a no-man's zone, it becomes a Mad Max jihadist style of the Middle East, and forces of terrorist groups will go in. So maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in 5 years, 10 years, we will definitely have a lot of trouble, probably even earlier. Here's another thing to bear in mind. When it comes to the border with Israel, Gaza is surrounded by Israel. Israel was able to go and, in some extent, minimize the effect of weapons and radicalization entering Gaza and also leaving out of Gaza. And still, we got caught with our pants down, and October 7 happened, and the results were devastating. In Syria, not only that Israel doesn't control that border. Here, let me show you a little bit of that border here. not only that Israel doesn't control that border, the whole area that we're calling autonomous Druze territory, that is right now the radical jihadist territory called the area of Dar'a, all the way from southern Damascus all the way down. And then we have the green areas, that's like Druze areas, and you have the Alawite areas that are not shown here in the map, and other minorities. So from here, from that area, all the way to the far ends of the Middle East and Asia, and doesn't matter what, Israel have no control over that area, meaning that the jihadists will be able to come and flock into our border. Anyone with a crazy, wild idea of pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, pro-Jihad, Muslim Brotherhood will be able to come and slowly start gathering around our border in hope to invade Israel again and kill everyone in Israel and genocide the Jews and the Druze and the other minorities, the Christians that are living here in Israel. That is how crazy the situation, ladies and gentlemen. That is how important for Israel to act actually now and ensure that that does not happen again. Like I said, less than 12 hours after I gave you the warning, which is basically came from the Israeli intelligence, and the minister of defense in Israel came and said there's serious reports of terrorist groups and forces starting to arm themselves and building a base in southern Syria in hope to invade Israel, and we need to act now. Less than 12 hours later, and we had already a terrorist attack. Let's keep watching some of the videos here because there's something very interesting here that I need to see. Here's another group of settlers.
לכתר החרמון, בשם כל ישראל, באנו להשב את הבשן שלנו, עלו נעלה וירשנו אותה כי נכון נוכל, בואו הצטרפו.
Their voices are funny. But anyway, that's another group that went and with the hope to start a settlement in the area of southern Syria by the border with Israel, and they got kicked by the IDF. These are images from the fighting that took place. That's the Humvee that got destroyed later on by the helicopter. This is the area of Beit Jan. There is a village of Beit Jan in Israel. That's not that Druze village. It's a different Beit Jan that is a Muslim radical village in southern Syria. Now I'm going to read for you a little bit from the news. And so let's stop on this picture. That is an important picture. Guys, this is crazy. Syria have about 27 terrorist organizations. The most moderate ones of them are Al-Qaeda and ISIS, basically the government. These are ISIS and Al-Qaeda are the most moderate terrorist organizations that we have in Syria. By the way, I just have Khalifa joining me here, so I'm going to bring him in and we're going to continue this conversation. Khalifa, brother, welcome back to the show. To those of you who don't know, this is Khalifa from the rebellion of the Khalifas. His name is also Khalifa. He's a Druze from Israel. He has his own podcast and a Telegram group. And Khalifa, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly well. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you share with us for a second, where are you located and what are you doing there, man? There's a war happening in Syria, and what are you doing right now?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm sorry for the noise. I'm trying to connect my headphones over here. But as you probably know, I haven't been so active for the past few days. And the reason is, I want to show you where I'm at right now, and wait and behold, just look.
My God, you're in the burning, man. Oh, I missed it. That's, wow.
Hebrew version of the Burning Man festival in the US, in Nevada, and we do it here in the desert. It's called Midburn.
The Midburn. You know what? I want to stop on this moment right now. Guys, whoever is watching this video, Druze, I see Phoenix here is already. What is happening? Guys, this is to all the liars out there that keep saying that Israel is an apartheid, Israel is all these kind of names that they keep throwing. Here you go. In Israel, Druze go to parties, rave parties in the desert with their Jewish and Christian and Muslim friends, while minorities in Israel are celebrating life and music and art. Minorities in Syria and in Lebanon and other Muslim countries around the Middle East are being slaughtered and had to flee for their life. Alawites and being kidnapped by the regime, not only by the terrorist organizations. So I think that's quite crazy that we get to talk to a Druze guy right now in Israel that is in the desert right now in the middle of the Midburn. But Khalifa, can you still hear me? I see your image got dark.
Okay. Yes, well, I'm gonna try and do it without the headphones, sorry.
Here we go. We see you. Khalifa, I was just telling my friends here and all the audience about what we saw happening in Syria with the terrorist ambush that happened against the IDF soldiers, and also later on about the Israeli Chalutze Bashan Jewish initiative that is believing that the only way to secure the border is by actually putting Jewish people at the border there to live. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, my thought is that we're seeing a scenario that's gonna be escalated unless Israel is gonna do something about it. The event itself what happened in a village called
Khalifa,
Khalifa.
your audio is coming very broken. Either maybe use the mic or maybe bring the camera closer. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can hear you much better when it's closer to your
just a
face.
second. I'm gonna try get down for a second just to put my headphones, and I'm gonna join in again.
Jump back in. I'll keep the crowd here informed of what's happening. See you soon.
Okay.
Crazy guys, crazy. He's in the Midborn, in the Burning Man Israel style. I've never been to it. I mean, I grew up in the desert. I never really felt the need to go to these huge parties in the desert, but I heard that they're amazing, and I heard that they're very, very interesting. And I know many people that went there from all religions, actually. I know many Christians who went there, many Jews, many Muslims, many atheists. Just, very, very interesting initiative. But it's just a big sign showing you the state of Israel and what is happening. Now let's continue watching. So the radicals in Syria are complaining that al-Jawlani is not radical enough. See, these are the terrorist organizations in Syria. The other ones are not Al-Qaeda and ISIS. They're complaining that Jawlani, because he's not hating Israel enough and that he's not killing enough the Druze and the Alawites, that he is not the right guy. So you took a terrorist, an Al-Qaeda ISIS terrorist, you put him as the leader of that country, and what do the people in that country complain? That he's not terrorist enough. That's like having the Democrats complain later on that their elected nominee doesn't focus enough on environmental policies and other policies like he promised them, and that's why he want him down. He lied to us. So they're saying he's not radical jihadist enough. Obviously, he lied for us. We want to replace him. And these are the people that are flocking to the southern border with Israel. I'm going to try to put Khalifa again. I see him right now. Here you go, brother.
Hey, how are you doing?
We're good.
Great.
So you started saying, what is your thoughts about resettling these area buffer zone between Syria and Israel? What's your thought about that?
Well, my thought is, first of all, that it's a very important area for Israel, and Israel has some interest in it. That's obvious. The IDF soldiers are operating in this area, so therefore, this place concerns Israel in a very high-profile manner, in my opinion. And the second thing is knowing from the previous events that happened in Gaza, because the IDF soldiers went to have to arrest basically Jamaat al-Ikhwan personnel, and
The
these are
Brotherhood.
basically Hamas.
They're
The,
called
bro-
the Brotherhood Gang, basically. That's their name in Arabic, if you can explain it. Jamaat al-Ikhwan.
Exactly. So it's the Muslim Brotherhood. And Muslim Brotherhood branch in Gaza is Hamas, and in Syria it's called different names, but it's basically the same ideology, the same people. Uh, and knowing, because we had this experience in Gaza, we know that unless Israel does something about it, next time we're gonna meet, like this event gonna be happening in in more often frequency. So it's gonna be happen more oftenly, and therefore Israel needs to set foot on the ground if it wants to secure the places that it went to. We had a very interesting conversation last week with one of the heads of the movement, of the organization that is trying actually to encourage the Israelis to settle in this part of on southern Syria, this part of Syria, because we see a high value in these territories, and it could secure Israelis' interest in the place.
No, that's definitely true, and I think that is a very good analysis of the situation. People back home need to understand. Me and Khalifa have been warning about this for a very long time. We're not making this up. We're Druze. We're living in Israel. We have family, relative, and contacts in Syria, in Lebanon. We're getting this information from the people living there, including the Muslims themselves, the peaceful ones, who are telling us, guys, you have no idea what is coming your way. In Syria, they're growing right now in the radicalization, and that is only now. What do you think is going to happen in 5, 10 years, the next generations to come? It's a much bigger country than Gaza. It's Gaza 2.0 on steroids, and it's a Gaza that doesn't have borders that are stopping these jihadists. Actually, it's the one that is welcoming them, calling them all, come, come, come. And right now, Jawlani is still a new leader. Syria is still a new country that is trying to stabilize itself. When I say stabilize itself, is basically dig its roots in the ground and get as much support and money from the West so they can promote their jihadist agenda. And if we don't act now, they will make things way, way worse. I'm already hearing reports, by the way. I was listening to the media, Khalifa, in Arabic from Syria, and they were reporting this skirmish that happened, this ambush that happened on the IDF, as the IDF came and killed a family with children in the middle of the night. They were just trying to go to school. So we're seeing the same victim mentality, playing games. Israel is bad. We're the innocent. We're the poor. We're gonna have that
Yeah,
on the
because the babies basically wounded the IDF soldiers, of course.
yes, exactly. And the baby wounded an IDF soldier. What do you mean by that?
Because they are blaming that Israel came to kill the families, but we still have 6 wounded soldiers. The babies wounded them, of course. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
No,
how.
and the thing is, we're gonna start having them on our borders, sending terrorist attacks into Israel, and then Israel will retaliate. And what do you think they're gonna do? These guys, they don't fight fair. They don't fight nice. They're gonna start using the population there as a human shields, and then keep doing the same agenda that the Muslim Brotherhood had in Palestine and Hamas, which is to demoralize uh, Israel, demonize Israel, take the legitimacy, and make Israel look like they're the monsters. And we're gonna start seeing the same thing that's happening in Gaza, happening from the northern border, and it's gonna be a catastrophe. So that's why I do.
If I may say,
Please,
if I may say, it of course happened in Gaza, but not only in Gaza. It happened also with southern Lebanon with Hezbollah, and that's to say that the Muslim Brotherhood and Hezbollah are basically the same mentality from a different sect of Islam. One is Shia, one is Sunni, but basically they have the same mentality. And what I'm trying to say is that knowing from the previous patterns of such people that have such mentalities, like what happened in south of Lebanon, like what happened in Gaza and the Gaza Strip, we know what's gonna come down the road. So this for Israel must consider what its policies regarding this place, because we know how they're gonna react. Well, the way they're gonna react is they start to establish what they call an environment, a resistance environment, where basically they radicalize each kid and each person in the surrounding places or the near places with the border of Israel, and we'll start having boys throwing stones, challenging the IDF day by day. These such events gonna happen more often under the fire. Uh, Force is gonna be upgraded, and we know what's gonna happen. This leads us to the unfortunate truth that we have to handle, that basically Israel needs to clear, to have like a neutral place, serial place to disconnect the local community, the Syrian community from Israel in order to secure its borders, and also to connect with the Jews, because the Israeli and the Jews have the same interest, and the interest is to live, to flourish, to succeed, to thrive, and not to be, under the danger of terror attack. I didn't hear you. Maybe you're muted.
Yeah, I got muted. Sorry. While I'm talking, I'm just gonna mute you for a second, just so the music in the background, and then when you want to talk, we'll put it back. So, as we're seeing what is going on right now with these Islamist brotherhood that is forming up in the border with Syria and Israel, I want to show you a quick image here, and I want to ask Khalifa actually what do you think about it. So you see, this took place. That image took place a few days ago, where a gigantic convoy of Israeli cars, of Druze Syrian cars, went in the streets of Syria holding the symbol of "We survived," basically the massacre that the Islamists tried to make on us, and with the pictures of Bibi Netanyahu and Hikmet al-Hijri, which is a Druze sheikh. This came right after the massacre that the Syrian people reignited again on the Alawites. And in this image, you can see, I think I took it from your Telegram, by the way, Khalifa. They are showing a letter that was written by the Alawites. A letter that was written by the Alawites. Let's see if I can add you here. A letter that was written by the Alawites. Here we are. You're muted. Can you unmute yourself? So that was a letter that was written by the Alawites, basically saying, Israel, come and save us. Israel, come and save us, please. So we're having minorities in Syria that are pledging for their life, asking Israel to come and save them. Meanwhile, we're having militants rising their forces in the border with Israel. And the most disturbing fact is apparently that the government of Syria is not only aware of that, is also facilitating this. They have opened a direct communication with these Muslim Brotherhood to help them go and bring them to the border with Israel. And this is a very known, ancient, call it, not so ancient actually, jihadist strategy of fighting the West. Whenever they can't defeat you by force and Allah Akbar, slaughter you and your people, what they do is they start pushing their own people as close as possible to you, inciting crimes and violence, and through that hoping to wear you down and to get you to commit inhumane acts against them that they can use later on to dehumanize your people, demoralize your young ones, and make it look like you're the bad guy. So does Israel really want to have that on its borders with Syria? I think it'll be very, very unwise if Israel will allow it to happen, because obviously right now we're seeing the Syrians pushing for that, and we're seeing Israel still kind of waiting. And one of the reasons that is also holding Israel back is the policy that the United States have placed in regards to the Jews, to Israel, and to operating in Syria. And it's coming by a lot of pressure. Yes, we lost Khalifa, and hopefully he'll come back. If he's not, then we'll just finish the briefing here, wrap it up, and we'll join with Khalifa once he's home and away from the desert. So United States of America have basically told Israel, stop the airstrikes in Syria, stop the aggressions in Syria. And what happened again, it gave the Syrian regime and the jihadists a green light to go and try to hurt Israel, hurt minorities, ethnically cleanse Syria, and bring another October 7 on Israel. That is, guys, a very, very concerning news to be hearing right now and seeing in front of our eyes in Syria. Now, here is an image that shows you a suggestion that was thrown many times, and I will never stop saying it. This is, in my eyes, the best solution for the situation of Syria and the Muslim Brotherhood movements and the other terrorist groups in Syria. In this map, you can see the whole area of Syria, right by the border of Israel, by the purple border. That is where Israel's border, the original one, was, of the Golan Heights. They call it the occupied Golan Heights. They can call it whatever they want. Israel took that after they came and tried to destroy us. And since then, Israel is not giving it back for strategic, very serious reasons. And thank God, because Israel is not giving it back, the minorities who live there, the Alawites and the Christians and the Druze, have a much, much better life because they're safe under Israel rather than being in Syria and being slaughtered. And then after the Assad fell, Israel went and took over a little bit of these areas that are key areas to protect the border of Israel. These are key locations because you see that was a mountain and Israel was here, and then you had a little bit ridges. So Israel went and took the ridges completely to make sure that they can watch over the Wadi of Dara, which is the area that we see here as an autonomous Druze territory. This area is not an autonomous Druze territory. This map is just to illustrate what we would wish for it to be. But this area here is the area of basically one of the most radical Sunnah Islam, Salafi Islam jihadists in Syria. They all live there, and they're extremely radical. And what they're doing is they're killing the Druze, they're killing the Christians, they're killing the Alawites, and they're trying to build a Muslim Brotherhood resistance to go and kill the Israelis. So right now, Israel is holding that area there, and there's a few Druze villages in that area, and they're very secured. And Israel is doing raids into the city of Beit Jan, the village of Beit Jan in Syria, and others that we know that they have terrorists that have been involved in attacks against Israel. Some of these suspects that were arrested by the IDF in the night have placed a few IEDs and even shot, from what I understood, an RPG or some kind of anti-tank missiles at Israeli forces. So Israel tracked them down with intelligence and went to arrest them, and then the ambush happened by the forces of the Muslim Brotherhood that are located there, the Islamic gangs, they call themselves, kind of, if you freely translated. So during that skirmish and that fights, Israeli forces fought back, eliminated the threat, I think killed more than around 15 or 16 of them and wounded more, and had to leave the Humvee that was hurt in that area, and they couldn't evacuate it safely, and used the attack helicopter, rescue helicopter, to blow up that Humvee on the spot so they cannot use it later on or take information, sensitive information that might be on these vehicles. Sometimes you have radios on them. Sometimes you have other equipments like maps or technological equipment that you just don't want to fall to the hands of your enemy. So they went and destroyed it and pulled out. But this is the solution, guys. If Israel wants to have a future of safety and stability from the borders, with Jordan, we have it to some degree. They don't want to mess with us, and in general, Jordan doesn't want to fall into the hands of Muslim Brotherhood, so they're trying to fight terrorism. Jordan have a very, very strong counter-terrorism units that are holding their country from collapsing. to the hands of the Palestinians and the Muslim Brotherhood. They're fighting really, really hard to stop it because they know that once they lose it, that's it. Jordan will not have tourism anymore, and Jordan will end up crossing path with Israel and doing something very stupid and very wrong, and Israel would literally lay waste to them. So they're terrified. They don't want to end up like Gaza. Lebanon is a different story. Lebanon used to be Christian and beautiful, and now it's been run by Iran and Hezbollah, who plunged that country to be one of the poorest countries in the world and a very radicalized land. But now with Israel weakening Hezbollah and Iran in the grip, the Lebanese are having a chance to maybe reclaim it. We're still to see what's going to happen with that border over there. Can we trust them? Probably not. But can it become safe? Hopefully, yes, in the near or far future. Syria is Gaza 2.0 on steroids. Syria is radicalized beyond your imagination. You can't even imagine what a radicalized country is Syria. And for them to ever have some stability in Syria, I believe, give the Muslims the center of Syria, the big chunk of Syria far away. Let them play their Syria jihadist Sharia law games among themselves. Let them inbreed with one another. Let them go takbir, takbir, Allahu Akbar until tomorrow, going around and just milking male camels and drinking milk from male goats. Let them do their thing. Fair enough, that's their thing. You know, all kind of crazy stuff that they like to do there. Good for them. Give the Christians and the Druze and the Alawites the southern part of Syria. Let them live in that land. Let them live peacefully. Let them have their autonomous lands where they can freely practice their faith, where they can freely live without the constant fear of being completely wiped out or convert by force to Islam or die. Because this is the reality right now in Syria. Let them live. They are not enemies of Israel. They are way, way less likely. I know the Druze are completely not. The Christians are very, very unlikely. The Alawites, most likely not as well, to try to attack Israel. And actually, they will flourish from that. I've done a IQ research the other day, just kind of trying to see what's the level of IQ that you have in Muslim countries around Israel. And it was very interesting findings. It's gonna don't shoot the messenger. Literally go around and check it in the internet and do your own research. So in these Muslim countries of Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, the groups that have the highest IQ are the non-Muslims, are the Druze and the Christians. Probably the Alawites as well. I haven't checked about them yet. The groups that have the lowest IQ in these Muslim countries are the Muslims. So you have countries that the majority of that country is by default also the less intelligent one and the most radical and violent one. And they're trying to enforce the rules, and it becomes a snowball. It's just going to get worse and worse because the religion can be easily interpreted into violence. And when you add it with inbreeding and low IQ and oppression, it's just going to get worse and worse. So let the smart ones come closer to our border. Let the moderate ones come closer. Someone is saying here, I don't trust the Alawites. I completely understand that, and I think there's a very good reason not to. The last famous Alawites we know was Bashar al-Assad and his gang, and look what they did to Syria. But with that said, guys, not all the Alawites, the majority of them were not part of the family of Bashar al-Assad. The majority of them were just simple humans who were trying to live their life and were getting right now heavily oppressed and massacred by the regime in Syria and by the Sunnah in Syria. So I would say I understand completely the fear of not trusting them. You know, the work on gaining the trust is going to be on them. They need to show us that we can trust them. But with that said, still, they're way, way, way less radical than the Sunnah and that we're seeing right now in Syria and the Muslim Brotherhood movement that is strongly trying to control Syria. Christians, a different story. They're actually way, way more peaceful around the Middle East and also way more stable and successful, but only they're very oppressed. And the Druze are ones trying to survive right now, and also they're way, way more successful and peaceful. Bring them closer to the borders with us, and you'll win. Here is an image, and I'll show you that now, of the Syrian reporter right after the attack going around and Here you can see the mosque that got shot here. So they were fighting for the mosque. They were ambushing the Israeli forces from all around, and Israel fought them and took them down. And now a reporter comes there and tried to paint this image as if Israel attacked and killed families and just out of nowhere came and started attacking Syrian citizens. And the Syrian regime is playing the same song. Instead of condemning acts of terrorism and aggression against Israel and an attempt to build a Muslim Brotherhood terrorist base in southern Syria, they're trying to blame Israel again and do what the Palestinians have been doing for a very long time. So Syria seems to be every day more and more choosing the side of Palestine, Muslim Brotherhood, and that game of we're the victims, Israel is evil because they don't let us murder them. That never worked well. Takia, full-time Takia. Someone wrote in the comments here. That never worked well. That never served any Muslim country around Israel. And I will keep saying that. Stop trying to murder the Jews. Stop trying to kill the Druze. Stop trying to murder the Christians. Stop trying to kill the Alawites. Stop kidnapping the Yazidis. Stop trying to annihilate the Kurds. Stop trying to kill anyone that is not like you guys. Seriously, instead of playing the victims whenever you're not allowed to kill and whenever you're given the green light just going and killing victims, if the Muslims in Syria will start behaving in a peaceful manner, they will benefit from that. But they're showing that even the government itself is taking it to that place of playing the victim card. Oh, we're the victim. Feel bad for us. They're not letting us kill anyone. So that was a quick update, guys. I will come back live tonight as well. That's going to be in about 6-7 hours from now. I'm going to have to go and pick up my kid and then, do the more important things in life, which is being a family man and a father to your child. And I recommend for everyone that is anywhere where you're living, focus on your family. That's the most important thing. Whatever you're doing, politics keep coming and going, things keep happening, works can come and go, money can come and go, time cannot come back. And the precious time you can spend with your family will not come back. So spend time, quality time with your family. So once I'm done, I'm going to come back later and I'm going to try to give you another more accurate update about what happened, what took place. And also, here's a teaser, guys. Here's a teaser. Something crazy is happening in the Middle East. Apparently, during the operation of the IDF to eliminate Tabatabi, or whatever his name is, Tabatizi, the general command of Hezbollah in Lebanon, one of the missiles that was shot by the IDF did not detonate. And it's still in Lebanon. And apparently the Americans are going crazy right now and the Israelis because they're afraid that it will fall to the hands of Russians or the Chinese. Some very extreme, rare technology is located in it and they don't want it to be stolen and then reverse engineering to build counter ways to fight it. So there's a big race like in a James Bond movie right now, trying to go and demand that the Lebanese government bring it back or else, or maybe even send special forces to go and bring it before it falls to the hands of the Russians or the Chinese. Crazy stuff are happening in the Middle East. My name is Mansu Ashkar, and this is the Three Monkeys, and I'm going to try to give you the best explanation of what is happening in the Middle East. But until then, I just want to remind you of one very, very good tip for life. Don't do anything stupid. Stay safe, and see you next time. And Ainora, you are a legend. A legend. Don't forget to go check my Patreon, check my Instagram account, X. I'm not so active on X. I should get active there. But if you want to support this channel, go and check all these things. But if you want to find a practical way to support the work that I'm doing, go to Patreon where you can find very simple deals all the way starting from $3 a month, which could be a cup of Starbucks with fluffy macchiato, vegan tofu milk with it. You can skip that one cup of coffee. Not only for me, for any of the content creator that you see out there, and you can find a content creator that you find trustworthy and you enjoy his content, and you can start pledging on a monthly basis to support his work that he's doing. We're living in an era where there's so much fake news, so much wrong propaganda that is spewing hatred and racism and misinformation. So if you find someone that you believe that he is doing a good job at that, they would highly appreciate your support, and you can go and find ways to support me or any of the other content creator that you find worthy. Traveling Clat, I love that guy, and very Yon Gardia, or many others. Rebecca Barsef, there's the Nigerian Prince, I think his name. I keep forgetting his name. By the way, I should be going on a podcast with him on my channel on Saturday. There's many other content creators that are just great, and they're doing a great job and doing it from their own free time. Go and follow them and see if you want to help support them. They will highly appreciate that. But until then, guys, don't do anything stupid, and in general, just don't do anything that the Syrian regime would do. See you next time.